So, Bart, thank you for an amazing session. We had really amazing insights talking about psychology and how to use that for conversion optimization. Why don't you give our YouTube audience a preview?
Right. I think the story's been told more and more often, but the basic thing I'm really bragging about is there's more happening in your brain than just your conscious thoughts, right? You have this voice inside your head that tells you why you're doing what you're doing and why you're behaving like you are. But that's not the only one that's in the driver's seat. Actually, very often there's a lot of other processes that are actually in the driver's seat, and your consciousness is retrospectively, so after your decisions, making up theories why that was a decision and what the reasons were. System 1 and System 2 thinking, right? Consciousness versus intuitive decision making.
Very good. So let's talk about how you apply this System 1, System 2. I love the way you put it in the session.
So I need a hook as a speaker. So I've been trying multiple hooks. I've had a king and queen, but now this day I tried my own sons, because as a psychologist, I'm experimenting with a lot of people, like more than 100,000 people a day are in our experiments. But I'm also experimenting with my kids, and I have 2 boys. And I like the metaphor of my youngest one, who is not showing a lot of self-control yet. So if we do the marshmallow test, which means that you give him a marshmallow and you tell him, you can eat the marshmallow or you can wait until I return. And if you have not eaten the marshmallow yet, you get another one. So you'll have 2 marshmallows, but he's still unable to pass the test. Right? By now, he passed 6 years of age, so he does nowadays pass the test. But my older one was way more early in passing the test. And I like this metaphor because it's sort of makes it very easy to realize that the one is really driven by the impulse, right? Oh, like a marshmallow, he ate it. And whereas my more responsible and more thoughtful older son is more in control of his behavior already. And the same applies for any user on the website. Some of them are totally instinct-driven, although they think they're not. And the other ones are actually very goal-directed and very, deliberately making this
very focused, basically.
Very focused, yeah. And the problem with these 2 groups is that when you look at how you can persuade them to take certain actions, to take the next steps, and ultimately convert into a very loyal customer, is that all these persuasion techniques are, like as a rule of thumb, are counter-effective. When it works for one technique, they're counter-effective for the other system. Yeah. So if you make it very simple and very clear, that works for our system to our conscious rational thinking. But if you want to have the emotional intuitive system, I did not say emotion because I'm not emotions. There are a lot of discussion, but more the intuitive automated system. You can do so many things. You can make sort of jukebox out of your site. Right? Have a look at Booking.com. Mm-hmm. It's like one big, impressive bombardment of information in the phase where you're choosing your hotel and your room. Mm-hmm. And the very simple reason is that it's actually pretty goal-directed behavior. Yep. I mean, people are, I need a room. How difficult is that? Yeah. But the decision is very difficult because there are so many hotels out there, times a lot of types of rooms, so it's impossible to make a rational decision in that case. So although this is a goal-directed behavior, they need a lot of System 1 approach, make it very urgent, go through that step, don't make too many comparisons, just base it on your instinct, which is actually better in that stage. But by the time you decide it, the jukebox goes quiet, and if we're going to pay, it's all about, there's this rest, there's this serenity almost, like compared to the other. Right? And this is what we find with a lot of our clients, that it differs across the stages. But I think one of I had 30 minutes in total, so it was like 20, 25 minutes of. So I gave a more easy case where we had 2 devices that are different, right? So, but you have to start looking first of all, into science, right? Read books from, for example, Daniel Kahneman or Dan Ariely, or even all their books on consumer psychology. Realize about the dual processing brain, which we nowadays call System 1 and 2. Horrible names, right? They used to be way better terms for that. But anyhow, and then look into your data to find indicators what kind of system am I dealing with. It's sort of the marshmallow test within your data. Yeah. Very, very simple things are, is your conversion rate going down during the day, during the hours of the day? Because if it is, you're probably looking at a System 2-driven decision because we have less rational...
Towards the end of the day.
Towards the end of the day. If it goes up, the other way around. If we have ideal path, people go homepage, search page, product page, and to detail page, and they buy it. So how goal-directed can it be, right? Exactly. If they're all over the place... they're not really in control of their behavior, so that's more System 1. So there are a lot of those indicators. And then you start building on a theory of what drives which segment. And then, only then, you can start with applying all these persuasion tactics. And then you know when to be very user-friendly and when that doesn't matter at all. But you need a basic understanding like that before you start optimizing your website.
So I think this is kind of a missing piece for conversion optimization because we've always focused on data, we focus on conversion optimization, but now you're bringing psychology.
A lot of UX also already, yeah. But UX is useless for System 1. If you do usability tests, you're only listening to the conscious part of the brain of your user, right? It's telling you why it did what it did. But in terms of, let's say you have a flash deal site, thedealoftheday.com, whatever. You should never ever listen to your customer because he has no idea why he's buying that, right? He might even regret it in the end if he becomes aware of what he did. But in order to get that data, you need to go either into science or your previous testing, a lot of data analysis, and stop listening even to your own voice because that's again a rational. That's very different, even for me as a psychologist, and both my parents are psychologists. I married one. My only sister became one, and I'm employing half of my company are psychologists. We all find it still difficult to think about human behavior from this irrational, intuitive perspective because we can only think with our rational part of it.
So if somebody wants to learn about this, I heard through the grapevine that you might have a course. Tell us a little bit more because this is something that everybody asks.
No, it's if you really, really like this, because it's quite intense, right? It is, I think, I'm not even sure, 50 days. You will need, let's say, there are 6 big chunks of information, but you will need to invest. I'm going to let you read scientific articles. I'm going to let you read part of the books. I have over 12 hours of video lectures in there. It's not big lectures. I mean, they're smaller. Like I think the maximum is 40 minutes, most of them like 20 minutes. So it's quite an investment. But if you do like that, go to my blog, wheelofpersuasion.com/course. Okay. That will be, I love to see you there. I mean, I have live webcasts and interactive sessions within it.
Awesome. Well, we'll definitely link to it. I really appreciate your talk and taking the time to also record this interview. Thank you, sir. Thank you.